guys, how are you doing? Sorry, needed to start this video with a drift because today we have a special acceleration comparison again, comparing this M5 Competition LCI to the Audi RS6 and the new E63s of model year 2020. So all model year 2020 cars all have OPFs, all in their latest setting more or less. This car, of course, 625 HP, the RS6 was 600 HP on the other end, and of course also the E63s was 612 HP. Very anxious to see the numbers, how those cars really do on the Autobahn, and of course also in the launch control mode. Before we're kicking it off, some very important facts to the cars and to the setup of the cars. The E63s was running in summertime and probably, let's say, more or less had the worst conditions from a temperature perspective, because that was at 30 degrees Celsius outside. The RS6 runs, and you know it, on those huge 22-inch wheels, and this car probably has the most ideal setup because 19-inch, let's say, tires, the smallest one, and also the coolest outside temperature. But nevertheless, enough talking about those circumstances. Let's kick it off with those cars. Let's start with the Audi RS6 with an acceleration from the standstill, but later on also 100 to 200 on the Autobahn. So let's now see how fast the car goes from 100 to 200. And you have just seen the numbers. You can clearly see 3.4 seconds with winter tires 22-inch are not too bad, and also the 8.1 I think is quite competitive. But next car is the E63s, 612 HP. Let's see how fast that car goes. So you have seen the numbers. They are quite interesting because despite the fact that the car was running in hotter, more or less summer conditions, the numbers are better. 3.3 to 100 is maybe explainable because the tires stick a lot better, but that 7.7 seconds, 100 to 200, really shows that that E63s engine probably even has more grunt than the RS6, and of course the wheel advantage comes into the game as well. So I think in theory and also in real life, and I think also Carwow has tested that multiple times, the RS6 on a rolling start will not beat the E63s, which is faster. But last but not least, it's now time to get the M5 Competition on the Autobahn. People, please be amazed by the power that this car is delivering. So let's now see how fast the M5 Competition goes, 100 to 200. summarizing it overall, the numbers of the M5 Competition are quite astonishing. 3.1 seconds is already pretty darn good. You have to consider that this car runs on winter tires, but I think the number that is even more astonishing is that 6.8 seconds 100 to 200. And if you're now questioning, was that downhill? No, everything 0.0% slope, or always the corrected times. There's no explanation, let's say, besides the fact that the engine has more grunt and then the tires are smaller, that this car is really faster. It is simply amazing how it shaves almost a second off that E63s 100 to 200. Even under better conditions, there still would be a significant difference in that regard. And also compared, of course, to the RS6 0 to 200, the one car is above 11 seconds, the other car is below 10 seconds. I think that is quite impressive, and BMW has shown that they're building the most performant power sedan in this class currently, and this is also how the car is positioned, because you can really feel that the whole car is hunched up, the whole car is very sporty, and it's probably also why driving normally you feel the most sportiness in the M5 Competition compared to the other ones. The RS6 and the other end is probably the best GT car and the best family car on the other end. But nevertheless, hope you enjoyed this comparison that we did once again. Tell me your thoughts and tell me if you expected this result like it is, and of course follow also the stuff that we have about those cars, nice photos and some nice videos on Instagram. Tell me your thoughts. I'm very excited to also hear what you're saying.